Okay, here we go once again with a recap of all the nonsense that is surrounding us, and it's all made possible through the use of duality. Symbols can mean more than one thing, okay? They have mirror images. They could have mirror images like you can see here. A W can look like an M can look like an E can look like a 3, all right? So this is how duality works. This is that, but that's not this, depending on your perspective. So we're going to start with our friend here, God, which has to do with geometry, all right? All the attributes of the circle, and there's a reason why these attributes are attributed to God, because God comes from, he's the very first, he's your one and only God, and it is associated to the circle because one is associated to the circle through its one side, all right? It has no beginning, no end, all right? Again, another thing attributed to this circle, and you have a nice little phonetic duality, which is he is holy, as you can see, whole. Anyways, and then nobody knows God. Well, that's due to the pi. Nobody knows the end of pi, so God, nobody knows God because nobody knows pi. So that nonsense created this whole story, all right, geometry. And after that, we need geometry to create the alphabet. As you can see, you have angles and you have curves, and you need geometry to create the word. So the Father is the Son, as well as the Son is the Father, because he's the Word, and you need the geometry to create the words. And Jesus is the alphabet through the Aleph-Tav. He says it himself, I am the Word, and he also describes himself as the Aleph-Tav, or the Alpha and the Omega. So that means he's the personification of the alphabet, just as Mother Nature is the personification of nature, and Father Time is the personification of time, and Old Man Winter is the personification of winter. So this nonsense attributed through a lot of duality, but you get there through understanding it. Then you have the number 12, which is seemed to be a favorite of these people. You got 12 months, 12 hours, but you have also the 12 apostles, the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 12 imams of the Quran. So in Islam, the 12 imams in Islam. So that's your Aleph and your Bet, so alphabet. So your alphabet is also represented. You can make some symbols here. The first is the circle, and the 2 is the Vesica Pisces because it has 2 angles, and that's your eye. And if you want to add a little Jesus, which is attributed to Gimel, which is the 3rd letter of the alphabet, okay, which in our alphabet is C, and in Judaism it's G. So again, we have a duality where Christ is God and God is Christ through the significance to the correlation of their position inside the 2 alphabets, the English one and the Hebrew one, okay? In Hebrew, it's Gimel, G, and in our alphabet, it's C, and it's Christ. So the Father is the Son, and the Son is the Father. Same thing, reason why all this nonsense. So again, the word Bible means duality. By, duality, the repeated. So this is an old system that's been around. It's witchcraft that's been introduced inside of religion. So we have our angels here that was taken out of angles from the astrological wheels. If you've seen an astrological wheel, you'll see that there's sort of lines going from one side of the astrological wheel to the other, and that creates angles, and that became an anagram, and it became the word angel. So angles became angels, and angles are also your numbers. And you'll see this, that God is surrounded, the alphabet inside the Bible is surrounded by angles, which is angels. All right, so you can see that there. We have our friend Lucifer, all right, which is the morning star, all right. Lucifer is also the morning star. It's combined. It is Venus. Venus, who happens to find itself above the sun during sunrise, and he shines the brightest. That's why it's the morning star. And Lucifer, he shines the brightest just above sunrise, and it's an allegory inside the Bible as what that Lucifer wanted to take God's place in heaven. And when God comes around, which is the sun, and brightens the sky, he basically makes him disappear. In other words, he boots him out. And Venus itself, if you see the trajectory, as it goes through time, the weeks and the months, I guess, it goes all the way behind the horizon. And when you understand this, you can see the allegory inside the Bible that was taken from here. So that, again, is just another fabricated story for people to believe in some heavenly matchup which never took place. And we have Saturn here. Saturn is the word that was used to create the word Satan. Why? Because Saturn is the furthest planet, after what they knew in that time, of the sun. Therefore, Saturn was in darkness because he was very far from the sun. Therefore, Saturn was in darkness, and that became Satan. Okay, Satan is in darkness. That's another allegory and another tribute to the nonsense inside the Bible using astrology. And you can see that the effigy of Satan comes from the zodiac sign attributed to Saturn, which is Capricorn. And if you look carefully at Capricorn, you will see two horns, a little goatee, and he has hooves, and he has a tail. So you find this on your Satan, all right, a fabricated effigy. So that's how the magic works, all right. And the magic is tricks, all right, and most of the time it's just verbal tricks. It's understanding that one thing can be another, and it has to do with our duality over here. Now we're going to come back to our reality, which is why we have a job and sin and the IRS. Now, if you look at this very carefully, this means something to most people, but it doesn't mean the same thing, because if we go look into Black's dictionary, a job is defined as a private business for dishonest gain. We already start with the dishonesty. They're already accusing you of something dishonest, of theft. Then employ means M means for. Employ means to deceive. So when you're employed, when you have an employment, you're basically deceiving according to whoever made this nonsense definition. Okay, it's all about making definition and people believing it and all the nonsense and all the magic behind it. You are in sin. So that's why you need a social insurance number. That's no coincidence that a social insurance number's abbreviation is sin, as much as it's not a coincidence that you have a job which is attributed to a guy inside the Bible that's persecuted, and it's no coincidence that the two pillars in Freemasonry are called Jason and Boaz, and if you take the first letter of the alphabet, you can spell the word job, all right? Because let's look at it here. This should be also representative of the pillar, G-O-B, job, all right? So that's why you got these nonsense pillars in this end. And if you understand anything about this nonsense, this has to do with to receive, all right? This is one of the hidden meanings, well, one of the meanings of the Kabbalah. It means to receive. And if we look, why does God want 10%? Well, let's count how many sephirots we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the reason why God wants 10%, because God is into witchcraft, okay? And if you look, you have to give, well, we started off with the IRS, but did you read what's really here? Job, social insurance number, and the IRS. Oh, you didn't see it? It's theirs. Everything's theirs, all right? Because if we go into Black's dictionary again, you'll find that a person is a corporate fiction, all right? And we have the human in Black's laws says it's a monster, and a monster is defined as one who cannot own or inherit property. In other words, it's all theirs. All right, this is all born from witchcraft and nonsense alike. So there you go. Yeah, I could show you a little bit of this here. We all know that. I'm going to show you the house of God right now. The ox is attributed to the first letter of the alphabet through Aleph. So this is also God, ox. All right, it's the Father and the Son and etc. So this is the house. And the house means Beth is the house. I'm sorry, this is ox and house. So this is the house house of God, all right? And you need Jesus Christ, as you can see, you need the word, which is attributed to Gimel, and you need to go through the door, and the door is represented by the cross here. So Jesus is the door to God's house, okay? So they came up with this nonsense and they put it in the Bible, and that's why you're all praying for something that's you're never going to get there. But anyways, so all this is black magic, and it starts off with word magic, okay? The word black, okay, when you take the alphanumerical position of the letters of black and you add them up, it equals to 29, and 29, 2 plus 9 equals 11, all right? Then white, when you do the alphanumerical total of white, it equals 65, and you have your two symbols here, and it's also attributed to 11. And why 11? Because 11 is the beginning of magic. These are not coincidences created by an almighty. These are coincidences created by duality, created into witchcraft, and that's why you can't see it. So why black magic? Why is everything black magic? Well, Jesus, as you see, this started in witchcraft, okay? He's the Aleph-Tav. This is witchcraft, all right? And you can see it's, what color is it? It's black on white. So this, all your letters, is black magic. And that's basically it. So if you understand the magic, you can probably step out of the matrix, and you can probably petition your governments to stop using black magic on you, and you probably would have a better world. In other words, you may have to get rid of this, and it would make you part of the something something else. All right, okay, that's it. So there you go, that's it. All the magic's here.